Hey guys, welcome to another video, and in this one I will be showing you what I plan to start my 3.14 league on Friday, and it will be a Burning Arrow Golemancer. Why did I choose this? It is because I played it on in the previous league, I mean in 3.13, and it exceeded all my expectations. I'll have a video with the gameplay showcase in the description if you want to look after this to see the true potential of the build once it's geared out, right? Of course, as a league starter, you're not gonna have that damage. You're still I don't think you're gonna be struggling. I think this build will surely and safely take you from 0 to 100 without any issues. The build is solo still farm viable in a way. I mean, if you play like that, it's very tanky and stuff like that. So without further ado, just let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is my character in standard. I made it to level 93, a elementalist, as you can see. I have no gear equipped on this. This is just the skeleton of the build, right? So to start, you can either start leveling this build as a Burning Arrow from level 1, and you do this by mulling over a Burning Arrow and Pierce from a Ranger. You create a Ranger, you make it to town in Act 1, you put all your stuff in your stash, and then you log over, you create a Witch, you make it a town, and you take all the items that you need from there, okay? The gems, I mean. If you want to, I will personally be starting like this. I will start from level 1. I know it's probably not the most optimum way to start, but I think it'll be okay. I think it's gonna be pretty decent. I started like this when I leveled this character. It had leveling gear, but I don't think it's gonna be that important. Okay, so before we continue, I wanna address the thing about giving credit about the build. I found the build on PoE Ninja. That's how I find most of my builds. Like when I have no idea what I want to play, I just go on PoE Ninja, check some builds, and go from there. I know there is a guy who made a very detailed guide about this, and when I posted the build on Reddit for a showcase, some people said that it's already been made by this guy. Okay, so I don't want to be caught in any drama. Oh, you stole the build and stuff like that. It's whatever. Okay. I will give credit to the guy because he did a really good guide on it. It's very well written, and I'll post his guide into the description below. Okay. Now everybody's happy. Good. So I'll be personally starting as a Burning Arrow from level 1, and I will be going like this, taking like bomb rushing elemental overload as fast as possible, because that's gonna be the biggest damage increase for leveling. And then we're gonna path our way up. We're gonna take this wheel for damage, and then we're gonna make our way here and take Breath of Flames. Heart of Flame is not really that good. Not worth taking, not worth the 1, 2, 3, 4 points, I think. And then we're gonna take the life, and then we're gonna make our way to Golem Commander. Very important that your first ascendancy will be Shaper of Flames. That is your first ascendancy. And then you take Leader of the Primordial, Elementalist, and then on your Uber Lab, when you get it, Bastion of Elements. Okay, and just follow the tree and take all the damage nodes that you can get. If you're playing softcore, if you're playing hardcore, I don't know. I am making this opinion based on my gaming experience as a softcore trade player, pleb. Okay. In the POB that I will have listed, you can see again the same tree that I am using. Well, the reason being, this is my character is completely naked, because in the league when I played, I sold all the gear for fund another build. That's just how I do things. Okay, cool. In the POB, you can see the tree. I just want to give a heads up that this build is very dex dependent. If you can get some dex on your gear later, you will probably 100% need it, because Our endgame weapon, Zov's Nurture, requires 185 dex. Otherwise, get dex where you can, okay? The idea of this being a league starter is because it's safe. It didn't get touched in the patch notes. It didn't get the nerf. It didn't... Well, if you count Bastion of Elements being changed a little bit, we now receive is 75 elemental damage per allocated notable passive skill from 100. That there is a slight defensive nerf, but otherwise the skill is Gucci. Even the Val variant of Burning Arrow has received a slight buff, which is great. So, if you want to start this build as a league starter, I do recommend checking other opinions. Maybe until your first lab, you can level as Arc, you can level as Armageddon brand, as Storm brand, as whatever you want. Once you get your first lab and get Shaper of Flames, all your hits will ignite. All damage with hits can ignite. 25% of damage with ignites you inflict with hit, blah blah blah, whatever. You get the idea. Once you get this, you can play Burning Arrow and use just any bow until you get Zoff. Very important is to keep in mind the things you want on your bow is elemental damage, fizz damage, everything, every kind of damage scales your Burning Arrow damage, okay? That being said, you can, if you can get a cheap Tempest early on, you can use that bow for a long time, okay? Until you get something, you can use even a, I don't know, a Lionize, a Chin Soul, any kind of bow will do until you get Zoffs, okay? So this is like the end game tree. I will try and make a leveling tree so it'll be easier for you guys to level it. Again, I will be making the tree in the point of view of leveling with Burning Arrow from level 1, okay? If you want to level it with Armageddon brand, please try to adapt it to your playstyle. For example, just taking the spell damage nodes instead of going this way and stuff like that. Okay, great. For the gear, as you can see, it's like I have very basic gear here. It's not like super wow. It's just maybe the Vermilion Link is a bit overkill, but even if you take it out, you still got a lot of damage. Okay. Very important in our gear is Zoff's Nurture. That is our end game weapon. You get it from Zoff in the Breach. It has a decent drop rate, so I don't think you're gonna struggle to farm it if you want to farm it, but you can usually buy it pretty cheap in the start of the league. I think it's like, what, 5-10C or something? Maybe it's gonna be more expensive because a lot of people are starting as Burning Arrow. I don't know, we'll just have to see, but it should be easily farmable. For your quiver, in the end game, you want a Penetrating Arrow quiver, Hunter Influenced, with as much damage over time multiplier, lightning damage to attacks, fire damage to attacks, fizz damage to attacks, cold damage to attacks, whatever. It doesn't really matter, okay? Just get a lot of damage multi. Until then, you can use a drill neck. It is perfectly fine, as you can see. You were still at 18 million damage with shit gear. For the helmet, I put in a very basic helmet. It's got dex, it's got life, and it's got burning damage. This is not hard to craft. Once you get the base, just spam like fire fossils on it, scorching fossils, and it will hit. Trust me, it will hit. It's not a low weighting. And then in the end game, this is what you want for your end game to put the maximum amount of damage. I will have these items also listed. So if you want to push this to min-max, you know what to aim for, okay? Again, at the body armor, I will have the endgame version. It's just a lot of life and resistances and the additional curse. With the harvest nerfs, this can be achieved. You just spam pristine fossils until you get the additional curse and you should be fine. It may take a little bit, a few attempts, but you should be fine. Okay, at the gloves, I put a very basic gloves. The thing you're looking for is the fire damage over time multi and the fire damage against burning enemies. Again, you really don't need the fire damage over time multi as fast, but having the temple mod with fire damage against burning enemies is better than the multiplier, right? As you can see, it's just life, armor, and fire damage against burning enemies. Very typical item for a temple drop, right? You won't need a lot of luck to get one of these. And then for the end game, you want something like this: fire damage over time multi, cold damage to attacks, and the fire damage against burning enemies with life and dex, because we need a lot of dex. But for now, we're just gonna use the very basic armor. For the boots, the only thing that you would really possibly want is the ignite deal damage faster. But then again, if we remove it, it shouldn't be like a huge DPS loss. What is it? I'm sorry about this one, the last one, I'm blind. So if we remove that, it's just like a 300k DPS loss out of 16 million is not that much. The projectile pierces 2 additional targets is very good. Not mandatory, but just very good for clear speed, okay? Because then your arrows just go further and further. For our amulet, we will be using the primordial chain. Until you can get this, just use whatever amulet you want, it doesn't matter. Just as long as you have your resistances capped and you make the death requirement in case you get the Zophs before you get the primordial chain. Okay, great. Again, for our ring, we really want Barracks Respite for the proliferation, right? For the proliv. I think I have one here. Damn it. Well, that's awkward. Looks like I don't have it. But yeah, you want a Barracks Respite. For clear speed, it will just make your clear speed very good. And it will just go on for like 2 or 3 screens away, right? Especially if you got the Pierce and the Barracks, your clear speed will be astronomically high. For single target, you want a Replica's Ember Wake. It might be a little bit tricky to get this one. You won't be getting this one in the early league, obviously. But for endgame, you do want this Replica Ember Wake. And then on high tier bosses such as Cyrus, Maven, stuff like that, when you'll be fighting it, you may want to swap Replica Ember's Wake. You may want to swap Barracks Respite with Replica Ember's Wake. Just so you can get more single target DPS, right? Yeah, what is the thing that shows me where I can remove shit? Oh well, whatever. Another thing about the skill gems, I'll have all the skill gems listed here in the POB, obviously. About the auras, you really don't care much about it. I mean, you can use anger, you can use wrath, you can use hatred, you can use anything that gives you flat damage will help you boost the damage of burning arrow, okay? Obviously, malevolence is your go-to aura once you are able to use it. And then another aura will be like anger, or like I said before, whatever of those. Steel skin is our defensive layer. You put it on your left click, and whenever you move, you just use it. About your golems, you want every golem. We'll be having like 9 golems, I think, in the end. So just use all of them. Make sure you have 9. We're still gonna be using Wave of Conviction even after the nerf. With combustion and flammability and hex touch, and then the Val burning arrow. This is obviously with awakened gems, so let's put elemental damage with attacks. Let me put default gem quality to 20. We're gonna use unbound elements. These awakened gems are very cheap in the early game, even because nobody really is using them. And yeah, that's it. Not Grace. Oops. Okay, so tick, tick, tick. And even still with, oh yeah, Swift Affliction. What is it? Swift Affliction. You're still at 11 million DPS just with the Zovs and very basic gear. Right? I forgot to take something. Yeah, and you will be swapping Swift Affliction with greater multiple projectiles while mapping, and then you gem swap and stuff like that. Assuming that you won't have a 6-link Zoff, you can get a 5-link and then just ditch whatever skill is providing you the less DPS, right? In our case, it would be this one, Unbound Ailments. This one's providing the less DPS, so we're obviously gonna ditch this. So this is a 5-link, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-link, and with the proliferation from Zoff, it's fine, okay? Yeah, I think that would be it. Again, in the description, I will have a leveling tree here, so it will be easier for you guys, again, from the point of view of going Burning Arrow from level 1. Please keep that in mind. I will be streaming the league launch on my Twitch, twitch.tv/Dante00151, and I will be playing this build. So if you guys want to join me, have a chat, link me all your lucky items because you'll get lucky and I won't and stuff like that. So just how life goes. Yeah, feel free to drop by, drop a follow, sub to the channel, give me a thumbs up if you like this video and if you're gonna use this build. If you have any questions, post them in the comment section or hop over to the Discord, which will be again linked in the description below. I wish you guys all the best on the league launch, and yeah, good luck, have fun, and get some good items. Have a good one, boys. Stay safe. Oh, quick edit, I forgot to mention about the jewels. Here in the jewels, I have a Little Pride and a Transcended Mind. You won't be having these in the league start, obviously, so just replace them with stuff like this, like a Searching Eye jewel with accuracy, life, lightning damage, cold damage, or just basic jewels that provide you with life, either attack speed, or fire damage to attacks, or fire damage and stuff like that, burning damage and damage, whatever damage you can get, and life. Also, the cluster jewels, you will be wanting a large cluster jewel, preferably 8, obviously, with Primordial Bond and Rotten Claws, because we need to have this one free, because this gives us more damage than any node would. We only care about Primordial Bond. Okay, so we're gonna get Primordial Bond, and then we're gonna get the 2 mediums, which is Cooked Alive and Blowback, Cooked Alive and Blowback. These are not very hard to roll. You just spam Scored Farcel or Chaos Spam or whatever's more comfortable for you. And you take these, and then on the jewels, again, Mantra of Flames, which is pretty easy to get in the beginning. And over here, we do the same, and then we use a Primordial Eminence, 2 Primordial Eminence, and a Anima Stone. Anima Stone is very important because it gives you +1 of summon golems. You don't need this in the beginning, but it is something to aim for. It will be very expensive in the beginning of the league, but you can probably get lucky and get it from the divination cards or some ritual. I mean, ultimatum rewards maybe. Who knows? But this is something to put on your to-do list. Okay. Something you can aim for. Again, Transcendent Mind is a very expensive, probably in the beginning of the league, but with the new temple, it may not be, so who knows. So yeah, just replace these jewels, the unique ones, replace them with something else, like I said, life, attack speed, fire damage, ignite damage, burning damage, whatever jewels you can get with those stats, and you still should be fine. Even without these, you're still rocking a pretty good damage, like 2.6 million, 2.5 million. Without this, still 2.5 million, which is very good for a league starter. Like 2.5 million DPS for a league starter with just this skeleton tree and some starter gear and some uniques. It's not that bad. I am fairly sure then this can get you to endgame pretty smoothly, and then you just start grinding on those chase uniques like the Zoffs, the jewels, the clusters, the belt. Speaking about the belt, um, the belt is Diadem's Dawn, which is usually very cheap in the beginning of the league. If you want to min-max in the future, I have a corrupted version for what corruption you want to look out after, okay? Malevolence or whatever the stuff. But that's a story for another time. I hope you enjoy it. Again, please feel free to drop by the Discord if you have any questions. Twitch.tv/Dante00151. Friday night on my time at 11. A league will be launching, so I hope to see you guys there. Take care, boys, and have a good one.